We can't see you. You need to turn on your.
My camera is on, so I'm wondering why.
Okay, now we can see.
We can
All
see
right.
you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Samuel Aibashola, and I'm welcoming you to our first session for the NSA, that's the Nigerian Students Association, Kyungpook National University, our knowledge sharing committee. And today we have the beautiful, talented Miss Hussaina Abdullahi. She's an IT consultant and QA tester, and she'll be actually carrying us through career pathways within Korea, navigating post-study experience and job search. We also have some sub teams, but before I do go further, I want to like kind of introduce her to us. So her name again is Hussaina Abdullahi. She's an IT consultant and QA tester, and she's passionate about building communities and continuous personal growth. She has 2 years experience as an IT consultant and QA tester in an IT consulting company in Seoul. Her work as a consultant also includes helping clients improve their business process via automation by analyzing their business requests and translating it to technical terms and passing it on to developers. Then she tests the finished product to confirm it meets like client expectation. So in her free time, she also enjoys dancing and catching up with friends. So we are really glad to have you with us, ma. I
Thank
think we got to have you with us. So I think we would have a brief. Let me see. Yes. So I think we can have. Let me check how many people we have here.
to have 16 people, I believe.
Okay, I think we are more than sufficient to go. So I would like to introduce some dignitaries amongst us. I think we have our president here, in person of Engineer Abib Alabi. So that's our able NSA-KNU president. And we also have the outgoing president in person of Dr. Engineer Anis Rabiu. So we appreciate you for your presence, sir. We have our friends from all over. I can see Engineer Akim Karim. And as just slated by the NSA-KNU, we're actually live on YouTube at the moment. I think we'll also be streaming to Facebook. I'm not sure at the moment, but we are welcoming everybody from all over, from Korea here, from Nigeria. And I want us to come with an open mind. I want us to come with our notes, our journals, and all of those. So I think if, without further ado, we would be having Miss Hussaina Abdullahi now for the next couple of minutes to take us through the topic at hand. So yes, I think the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. My name is Hussaina, as Samuel just introduced. And before I start, let me know if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I can see you and I can hear you.
All right, that is great. So once again, welcome. Today I'll be talking about navigating job search in Korea, and I hope the presentation that I have prepared would be valuable and you'll be able to pick a couple of points in your search for jobs within Korea. So I will start by sharing my screen, and when I share my screen, please confirm that you can see the screen. Okay, let me share this. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so we're at the beginning of my presentation. So this is what you call it, how my presentation is going to flow. I'll first give an introduction about me, and then I'll ask some questions to the participants because I want to know the people that are listening, and if most of the questions will be geared towards people who are in Korea and actually looking for a job. So hopefully there are a couple of you here so I can see what you're currently doing, and then maybe by the end of the knowledge sharing, you could ask me questions and I could give further tips that are not in my presentation to you people specifically. And then after the questions, I will go into navigating job search in Korea and Korean work culture. So those are the like big ways that I broke it into. And so starting with about me, in 2015, I arrived in Korea and I studied the Korean language for a year. And then the year after that, which is 2016, I went for my undergraduate. I graduated in 2020 from I graduated in 2020 from Songyungwan University, where I majored in economics. So, 2020 was when the COVID happened. So a lot of things were a bit shaky. I got like a 2 months internship before I graduated. So instead of like going for a full-time job, I just decided to do that internship. And it was in the middle of the year. So it made things just a bit not smooth, because after I finished that internship in the middle of the year, I just had the rest, let's say September till December, to find a job. So I didn't get a full-time job in 2020. And then in 2021 January, I got a full-time role. It was a skincare company that were starting out completely new. So they hired me to like do their websites and also manage their marketing efforts. It was just a couple of mixed things that I was doing. So I worked there for 1 year and I didn't feel like I was progressing, or I didn't see myself staying in that path as a career. Then I asked a friend who was working and she's still working in the IT company that I work now, if they're hiring. And then she shared me the link of the job post. Then I applied. So in 2022, around May, I started working at the current IT company that I work with. And I've been there till now. So by the end of this month, so first week of May will be my second year at this company. But in total, my work experience here might be like, it's 3 years plus. So that is the about me is not just like about me personally, it's more of my work trajectory and life in Korea. So it's more of a timeline. So yeah, I'm giving this context and background to just give an example of what the path has looked like for me. And I didn't just like, I would say 2020 was pretty rough because of, on top of COVID, I didn't have any experience, and a lot of company, they are looking for people with experience, because if they want entry people, they mostly just default go to for Koreans. So you can imagine how like nerve-wracking that year was. But it's not impossible, because currently I feel like I'm in a pretty secure job and they wouldn't let me go except I'm not delivering, which is not the case. So that's the summary. And the questions for the participants. So I will go off full screen because I need to see the comments. So I'm curious, like, are you guys currently job hunting or studying? If you can leave a comment in the chat box to let me know. And also for those that are currently job hunting, what type of jobs are you looking for? So because most times people default to, if you're not in IT, maybe international development or like international marketing. So I'm curious what fields people are looking for right now, people who are job hunting, and also what platforms you're currently job hunting, and then what do you wish is available to aid your job search in Korea. This sounds like big questions, and I'm sure if no one is currently job hunting, then I wouldn't get any answer. But if anybody leaves any comments, I will go and check quickly. Let's see. Let me go to the chat. Yes, so 2 people have indicated that they're currently job hunting. And also, studying as well. And for those that are job hunting, please, what platforms are you using? For the 4th question, you don't have to answer because I think it needs a bit of thought and it's not something that I could just like think at the top of this thing. Okay, so someone said Saramin, that's good. And then someone asking if they could get remote roles in Korea. Hi, Brain and Co. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't heard of high brain and remote jobs. Remote jobs, especially in Korea, could be a bit tight, but we can talk about that a bit later. Because the thing with Korean companies, even when the COVID was serious, most places didn't go remote. And once everything cleared out, people were working full time, but I know a couple of friends that have maybe 3 days remote and 2 days on site. So it's not completely impossible. Is it English based? Okay. So it's good to know. Thank you for the response in the comment section. It's good to know where people's mind are at and what they're applying for. So yeah, I just wanted to see what the audience is like. Yeah, so onto navigating job search and career. So most of my talk would be on this aspect, and the covered topics are to how to position and make yourself stand out through resume. Because for any job search in or outside of Korea, wherever you are, your resume is the first point of contact to whichever company. So it has to be the basis of where we start the conversation. And then making a plan for your job search. Because all of these things, I didn't know them. It's not like I had all of this knowledge when I started, but I know that if I decide to leave my job or start hunting, job hunting all over again, these are things that I would do to make sure that my efforts are successful. Yes. And then I will introduce job platforms where you can seek for jobs. And I'll also do not like a demo of those platforms and opportunities that we can see on those places, and then prepare for interview. Rather than preparation, it's just a couple of important points to keep in mind when getting ready for an interview, and then work visas in Korea. So these are the main points that I'm going to be covering. Also, after that, then we can have some question and answer sessions, and I can share personal experiences of people that I know who have gotten jobs here and the kind of jobs that they do, and then we can continue discussing. So yeah, and also I think if anyone has a question while I speak, you can leave it in the comment section. Studying LinkedIn, yeah, you can leave it in the comment section, and I can maybe come in at intervals to check and respond to those questions, even if it's way before the QA session. Because I don't want the situation whereby I'm just speaking the whole time. I would like it to be a bit more interactive, but since if it's being too interactive, it might interrupt the flow. So if I go to the comments and I see a question, then I could just respond as I see it. Yeah. So for the first one about the resume, the first one is like positioning yourself for the role. So the thing is that the resume, as I mentioned earlier, is the first point of contact that you're having with a company. So you want to optimize it as much as possible, because some people make the mistake of just listing out all the things they've done up until that point on their resume. But actually, if most of the things you have done to that point is not relevant to that role, then it just would be filtered out. And some people would be like, okay, if they remove some things or if they try to make their resume to match the role they're applying for, they'll have nothing to write about if they're like just only trying to curate it because they don't have that much experience, which is understandable. But like there's a way that things that you have done that are not related to what you are working, you can write it in a way, not lie or fudge, but write it in a way to link it to what you're applying for. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, so the goal of the resume is to inform the company that you have the skill sets and capabilities to execute what they have described. And it's the first interaction, so it should be optimized as much as possible, because what the resume should do is to get your foot in the door. And then we can start thinking about, okay, interview and other things. So once that one is like to the T, then we'll start worrying about, okay, how are we going to prepare for interviews and then what's not. And then what do you call it? So I wrote a quote that you don't need anyone to validate your abilities when you know what you're capable of. Because in the job hunt, especially like when what do you call it? When people don't have job, they're like they approach it in the way of I just need anything to work out, which I understand because sometimes when situations are tight, you just need anything to click. But usually, like as much as you need the company, there's sometimes the company needs you even more than you need them. So going with, okay, I know what I'm doing and my resume speaks in a confident tone would be a very good way, because it will convince and make people to trust that, okay, this person knows what they're actually doing, and we can trust that they will help us solve our problems in that field that we're hiring them for. So yeah, so I wrote a list of things that an optimized resume should contain. And then I added 2 extra tips of things to keep in mind, like other ideas that you could come up with to stand out. I know the information currently now is generic, but I believe these are important points to highlight before we even go to the Korean context of job hunting. So yeah, so I wrote like an optimized resume is simplified, easy to read and well organized. So nothing should be confusing. There should be clarity, and the flow should be like very easy to understand what is going on. No need to throw in big words or things that would just anything that will make somebody question out, wait, what are they talking about? It should be omitted. And then as much as possible, the resume should be action words that describes things that you have delivered, like how you have improved something, implemented something, organized something. I know this sounds basic, but sometimes some people's resume is just like it's just like a sentence, or you're explaining something, or just like I did XYZ, XYZ, but that doesn't show results. Like it's not a result-oriented language, if you get what I mean. So when you say you improved something, that's a result. That's kind of like a result, because something, or maybe it was less, and then by improving that, it became more. So for example, maybe in the lab work, if you guys do some experiment and you used to do it 5 steps before, and then or they used to do it like 10 steps before, and then when you joined, you figure out a way to do the experiment in less than 10 steps or just 5 steps. That is improving the process, and that's a way you can, what you call it, present it, that you've done this thing to improve process in your lab, and now you guys are more productive, things like that. And also the resume should contain keywords from the job search of the relevant role, because I know we cannot create or have a resume for every job that we are applying for, but something that would really help is the job descriptions. They usually have keywords that they highlight. So using those kind of words in your resume will also help, because it's like you're mirroring, like you're asking for this, I am giving you this, those kind of things. And also to sound confident and kind of omit unrelated experience to the job being applied for. I know this could be hard for especially people who are going for entry roles and they have unrelated experiences. But if there's a way, if there are experiences that's too unrelated, there's no need for it to be there. It's just, it could be omitted. And if maybe they ask for other things during the interview, that other things you've done, you'll be like, okay, this is unrelated, but I've done XYZ. And also to sound confident, like your resume should read confidently. And I think by doing step 2 and maybe mostly step 2, your resume should be sounding more confident. And yeah, so also let me know if I'm speaking too fast, because I think, yeah, I think I'm currently speaking quite fast, but yes. So I was talking to a friend earlier, and we're talking about this knowledge sharing, and the conversation gave me an idea to add 2 extra tips. So the tips are to always document your work and have a portfolio. Because so far for me, I currently do not have a portfolio, but when I was job hunting, I know I created a portfolio even in 2022, show the projects that I have done up until then. So a portfolio is one way you can stand out from most of your counterparts, that highlights more details of projects that you have achieved, even things like assignments, voluntary work. I think all of those could go in there. And the one about documenting your work, this is also something that I began to learn a lot more when I started my job. It's like usually we don't think to document, or maybe there are some people that do it, but we don't really think to document or organize the work we do, like assignments in school, the paper we write. Those, okay, for paper, that's huge. So I would expect everyone to be documenting and storing their paper somehow. But the things that we think are not that important, it's important to document them, because those will become your references and resources. Because sometimes you forget you forget a lot of the things that you have done. So if you have a folder in your computer that when you go in, you can see all the things you have been doing from maybe 2015 till now, it will help you so much to recognize your value and also see what you can pull together for the potential job that you want to be applying for. So yes, and then the next part is the making a plan for a job search. So usually what usually happens is, okay, I'm looking for a job, and then whatever, well, not whatever, maybe I will go on the job career site and then look for marketing role, and whatever comes in, I'll just be throwing my resume around, just anything that has, maybe they're looking for somebody that speaks English or stuff like that. That way still works, because maybe you would find a place that you end up liking and building a career in it. But it's also good to have a plan. Like, we'll have our plan, but things will also happen the way they are, that they want to happen, which is still fine. But like having a plan of, like, for instance, the industry and fields that you want to work for, list out maybe the roles, and try to curate a resume for each role. Because what I would advise is, let's say I have a resume for, let's say, IT consulting role, and then I have another separate resume for marketing manager role. Okay, okay, they sound too far, but maybe just 2 resumes for a similar roles that I want to apply for. They wouldn't be too different, but the style would be quite different. So the reason for 2 resumes is that you also want to measure which of them is giving you more responses. Because if you keep sending, let's say, 1 resume and you're not getting any feedback, and maybe you create another improved version, and then you realize, okay, this one is getting me more responses, then you know that, okay, I'll be sending resume 2 more, because this one looks like it's getting people's attention. So it's in I don't know which field, but they call it like A/B testing. I think it's usually in like SEO, whereby, okay, yeah, it's usually in marketing, whereby they make a marketing post and then test it on group A, and then make another one and test it on group B, then see the one that gets the most engagement. Whichever one gets the most engagement is now the one that will use for the marketing campaign. So I think you can also do that with your resume to see which one gets your foot in the door faster. And also to track your job search. So like having a file where you organize your job search and the places you've applied for. All of this, they sound like a lot of work, but I think job hunt is a full-time job itself. It's something that requires time investment. And in my mind, if I want to look for a new job, and let's say I'm starting today, I will give myself like 6 months to get, not prepare, but to land a new role, because I want, usually job search, it doesn't just happen in a, what do you call it, in an instant. Maybe in the first 2 months, I might not be hearing back from anybody. And then maybe the third, fourth month, I'll get 1 or 2 interviews here and there. And then when it's getting to the 6th month, then things might start clicking. So in those 6 months, having something that you're tracking, you can see maybe in your first month how many jobs you've applied, the platforms you've used, which platform are you getting more responses. Having those things tracked would make it easier for you to know where to focus your energy on. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So I will quickly go to the chat and see if there are questions. Okay, there are no questions, which is fine, because we'll still have a Q&A session after this. And then, so I added a slide about challenges of job hunting career. And this is something we're all aware of. The Korean language, the biggest, most massive challenge. But I want to say that Korean language is essential for a lot of companies and is usually required, but it is still possible to get a job without Korean language. So there are currently 2 colleagues at my workplace that do not speak any Korean, and they were hired. But I think their case is quite unique, because our clients are all US based, so we need people who speak English. We would need the Koreans to speak English more. So it makes sense that they'll hire non-Korean speakers. But I also know other friends that have jobs where they do not speak Korean and they are doing fine. But usually, though, those cases are in IT field, because I can count maybe 5 people that's okay, they got a job. Some of them, they're not working at those jobs anymore because maybe they decided to leave the country. But I knew that, okay, somebody, she was doing a UI UX design at a Korean company, and she didn't speak much Korean. And the other guy, he was a developer, so he didn't really need Korean. I just need to write really good code. And I believe that's also the limitation, that also I don't think it's impossible for other fields, but it's mostly IT people that they can easily pick without the language. But also I know, yeah, I know a couple of people that are non-IT and still got it up. So all I'm saying is that the language is highly emphasized upon, but it doesn't rule out the possibility of getting a full-time job. But the thing would be that, okay, after getting the job without the language, then the new challenge would be in the workplace itself, not being able to really communicate with the Korean team or the Korean colleagues, or not be feeling like included, because a lot of times things would be said where you're not really getting most of it. I think that's where another frustration will come in, because you're going to work every day and you're feeling like you're just outside of the whole thing that's happening. It's not a really good feeling, but that's another different situation. But that's a challenge from the language that I can point out. And also limitation of companies willing to sponsor work visa. So this is another one. Some companies, once they realize they need to sponsor the visa, then they're not that willing. But I think if you make yourself, actually not if you make yourself, because if the company's mind is made up that they wouldn't sponsor, then there's nothing you could do. But this is also something that is yeah, it's another challenge. I don't have too much explanation about this one because it is what it is. And then number 3 would be, excuse me, low availability of entry roles. So mostly seeking experienced workers. I didn't finish the sentence there. I thought I did. But before this program, I was doing some research on the job sites that I found. And what I noticed was that most of them were like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I'm like, so they're mostly looking for people with experience, like very like large years of experience. So I decided to add it as another challenge because entry roles are not as available. But all of these challenges, I'm just highlighting them for the sake of highlighting them, not for the sake of discouraging anybody. Because the way I think, or the way I see it, is that no matter what, this country, there's just so much economic activities that is going on here, that there will be that company that would need somebody with your skill set and doesn't mind you not speaking Korean. Like, I believe it exists. It will not be straightforward, it will not be easy, but I believe it exists because there's just too many cases of people getting jobs and doing fine, that it will not be like people's case that will be different, whoever is currently job hunting. So yeah. And then I listed out job platforms, places where you could find jobs in Korea, because most Korean companies, especially the medium and small ones, they do not post on LinkedIn since they have many, many local options. So there are 10. The first, I believe the first 2 are very popular. Most people know them. Number 3, talent.com. I found this recently, I think in the past 1 month, and it has the positions written in English. So this one, I think I recommend it. I never used it, but it's something that we'll go over. We'll like go to 2 websites today. So talent.com and number 6, people and job, because these are the 2 websites that I have seen that were written. The positions are all written in English. And yeah, so there's I wouldn't list them all out, but I think I can share with Kola after this a file with the list of these websites and their link, so that anybody that wants to go there and see and check for jobs can do it. So the thing with this website, they're just like LinkedIn, where you would need to log in, create a profile, and put up your resume. So I would suggest and recommend having both your Korean resume and English resume. I know getting a Korean resume is not the easiest thing. So what I do is I translate my English resume to Korean. I put it in Papago, and then correct the sentences that sound weird or off, and maybe ask the Korean friend to help me go over it and see if it makes sense and nothing sound awkward. So for most or for others who are currently job seeking, I would recommend you also do the same, and then maybe ask your lab mates or your Korean colleagues to take a look and give you suggestions on if, or just they should just proofread it to make sure that no word or sentence is coming off the wrong way. And yeah, so that's on these sites. I will quickly go to talent.com and people and job, so we can see what the sites look like for like people who would like to check them out later to apply for jobs. So for people and job, this is also something that a site that I found just recently. And one thing that I like about it is it has Korean and English. Most sites do not have that, and they have some descriptions written in English. So this would make it less daunting than when you come and everything is in Korean. So this company, Linits, okay, looks like they're looking for somebody in Japan, but for this company, actually, I know somebody that's working there. Well, he's American, but he doesn't speak English. He doesn't speak Korean. He works there as a QA tester as well, like an automation QA tester. So it's possible to get hired without the Korean language. So I believe what this company does, they're like an AI company. Yeah, conquering cancer through AI. And yeah, we don't need to go through all these details. So this is the current openings they have.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think we can only see your slide.
Really? Oh, okay. Let me stop presenting and then I will share again. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, I will do share my entire screen because I was only sharing a tab. Okay. So let me know if you can see my entire screen.
Yeah, we can see everything now.
Okay, thank you. So this is let me quickly go back here. So this is the site that I visited, the people and job. And the company I was just talking about is this Lunits. So this company, and what I explained earlier for this site is that it has the roles written in English, although it's not all of the roles, but some of them, which is much easier to approach than places like Job Korea, which is all in Korean. Although this role says like Japan Business Development, when I went to the website of the company and to their career pages, we can see that they have a couple of other roles here. So I mentioned that there was this dude that I know that works here as a QA tester as well, but he doesn't speak any Korean. So it means that there are chances that they could hire non-Korean speakers to work. So we can see here that they have 4 roles. So their remote role is in Germany, and the other roles are, okay, mostly front end, back end, AI research scientist, and research engineer. So yeah, so this is one example. Another thing is on this job site, going to their website. Yeah, see this one, 4 years experience. So usually they mostly try to hire experienced staff, but I'm sure there are entry level roles for this. Well, okay, site. So it turns out that what this says is that this site, they help people to get jobs for multinational companies. So companies that are not traditional Korean. Okay, and it's now that I notice this, like for instance, we can see places like Oracle, and this is, although it's in Korea, it's quite a multinational company. So I believe that is their niche on this site, showing Koreans opportunities for multinational companies. I'll be showing people opportunities in the multinational. Let me see. I'll go to the chat and see a role that's Someone said many, many Korean IT companies require coding tests. Programmers don't care. In your opinion, how do you think an individual could traverse this? Okay, I will come back to the question a bit later because I'm not a developer, so I don't know, to be honest. I never coded one. Maybe I've coded 1 line or 2 line when I was practicing, but I haven't really done a coding test before. So I'm not sure I could give a very satisfactory answer to your question. But let's proceed to the site. I was going to look for just a random role. I don't know which role to look for because I don't want to just be too on IT and IT. So if there are any non-IT roles, let's see. Maybe research. Okay, actually, I need to log in here. But anyways, this is one site that has English content, so easier for people to approach. And the other one is called talent.com. I also found this quite recently, and they have Korean and English as well. So I searched for something for Salesforce recently, so I don't know what it's sticking to. Yeah, so this one, it looks like Indeed, the way it's organized, but it's not. It's what you call it? The roles are written in English, and I believe there are a mixture of multinational companies here. I don't think actual local Korean companies post here because I'm not sure this is in their radar. But this is another one where you could find, I believe, opportunities that you can apply for while you understand what is being requested for. Yes. And then going to one of the most traditional ones, which is Job Korea. So for Job Korea, there are lots of jobs here, but also knowing what to look for could help to show you the opportunities that you need to see. So earlier, because I believe they have like a filter, like a search filter. And then using that search filter, you can maybe look for jobs that are seeking English speakers. Let me see, because if we just type English, it's going to show us teaching jobs, and that's not what we're trying to do. Let's see. Let's see what this. Okay, so as I expected, it's showing us English job. But when you come into this page after searching, you can see there are filters here. And from these filters, you can come to this last one. I know this is a lot of Korean. Maybe I could take screenshots and just show you. So from this last one, you can come here. This is Ude Chokon. That is the requirements, like a very important requirement. So for this one, we'll type in Korean and say Yongo. So what I'm doing is that I am filtering the search results to show me jobs that require English, like somebody that is an English speaker. So this way, whenever I search for any job, part of the requirement is that this person should be part of the main requirement to be like this person should be an English speaker. So let's say when I search for UI UX, let's say UI UX. So let's see the first role that comes. Okay, and then we can see here, I know Korean is not the easiest to read, but we can see here the requirement is they need somebody that speaks English. Because I've added that filter, the roles that come up are those that's the requirements in English. So this would really help you filter out jobs that, because there's no point in going to search for roles and you keep seeing that Korean is a must or you have to speak both Korean and English. So this one already says, okay, we need somebody that speaks English. So even if they didn't have a foreigner in mind, if you come in with the skill they need, and they're like, this person also speaks English, they'll have no reason to not want to pick you. Yeah. Oh, this one, they also have the description in English. The nice of them. Yeah, so this one is like everything they wrote here is we want someone that speaks English as a native. And this role UI UX is not related to English in any way, but they're emphasizing heavily because it might show that their clients or the people they mostly work with are English speakers. And then so now we can see, okay, now they are saying that okay, this is going to be in Korean and English. No remote visa, no family visa, but they will still sponsor visa though. I think they're just talking about no, maybe family sponsorship aside from the person that is being hired. This one, it will be conducted in Korean and English. Sometimes also they can be lenient because not everything that is say here that they will completely follow. There's one thing I learned from my first boss. She was like, what do you call it? Rules and regulations are made by humans and they can always bend them or change them. So let's say the HR person wrote this, but the actual people you'll be working with or the team you'll be working with will be like, okay, this person doesn't speak Korean. We can just do the interview only in English. Or we like this person a lot. Let's just take them as exception. So because you see something is written in the job description should not be a reason to discourage or deter you from actually going for the role. Still go hard for it, and until they tell you they come back and be like, okay, we actually cannot do this, then that's when you can step back. But don't self-reject just by reading requirements on the site. So yeah, I hope I'm not going over time. It's like 9:44. Sorry, what time am I supposed to stop for questions? Let me ask Samuel, like the moderator.
I think we have until, I think it should be 10. Yes. I think
10?
we have until 10 for questions, yes. But we can actually like extend maybe 10 minutes past 10.
Oh no, it's okay. So like I'm supposed to stop by 9:50 and then
It's possible by I think 10. That should be 10 for questions. Questions should be like 10 for 20 minutes Q&A. So
okay,
10
so
to 20.
oh, okay then. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that in mind because I don't want to go over time. But yeah, so these are examples of sites and things to look out for when applying for jobs on these sites. Yes. And then the next one is preparing for the interview. Okay, now you've gone on those sites, applied, put your resume out there, and they called you back for an interview. The preparation, the points that I've listed, they're pretty basic, but also essentials, which is good to have in mind when you're going for a job interview. So the first one is to learn as much as you can about the company so you can have better understanding. If there's a way to, because there might be companies that do not have their information online, but if the one you have gotten into does have that, learning and researching and finding anything about maybe things that they are working on or things that they have put out, if they are going to release a new product or if they just whatever they are doing, learning about those would give you a better and a clearer picture of what you could expect when you finally get in. And also preparing questions in advance. I'm sure everyone knows this, like when you're interviewing for a role, as they're interviewing you, you're also interviewing them. Because the way I think of job search and job approach is now I'm in a position, not that I'm in a position like I'm in one high position. No. I feel my mind is in a position whereby I see myself that okay, do I want to work for them, and do they want me to work? Like I want to be in a place where I feel I'm adding value, not just because if you go into somewhere and you don't feel like you're adding value, very quickly you notice that just you not feel like you're growing or developing because or you feel like you're just not the right fit. There's this thing about it. So when going for an interview, don't go in the mindset of, oh my god, I hope they pick me, or of course you want them to pick you, but also go, would I like to work with these people as well? So I think when you have a kind of conversational way of interacting, that okay, what do you guys expect from me, and the person that was in this role or whatever, like what do they have in mind, deliverables, all of those kind of things. And also, what is the day-to-day like in the life of the person in this role? And also, people who are interviewing you, I ask them what did they like about the company, because I'm usually curious. People that are there, like, why are you there? Convince me to come, that kind of thing. So those kind of things, they would see that okay, this person actually has done their homework, and this person is taking this in a way of they are coming with their own value, not that the company is doing them a favor by hiring them. Yeah. Don't let people think they're doing you a favor or like you're desperate. Also be like, yeah, I know what I'm offering, I know what I have on the table. Not in a cocky way or in a feeling big way, but it's just in a we're all here for exchange of value, so let's do that. That kind of thing. And then this one is like to search for other employees within the company. So if it's a big company and you think you can find other people working there on LinkedIn, then you can do that. Search for them, and if you are able to find somebody that would be in the department that you're potentially going to work, even better. So you can inform them, okay, like, hello, I am interviewing for this position in your company, and I was wondering if you have any ideas or tips on how to go about it. And I know most times people don't feel comfortable sending out cold outreach, like just reaching out to people randomly. The thing is that they could either respond or not, and nothing will happen, nothing will remove from your body. So they could be kind enough to be like, oh yeah, these are the things that I do, or these are the ways I think you can use to pass this thing, or they'll just read and ignore, be like, who is this stranger? That is also fine. You move on to the next. So that is that. And if it's not possible to find the people, just find, I would like maybe look for other people in other company that are doing similar roles. I would not reach out to those people. I would just try to see what they are doing to give me ideas of how I could show up for the interview, of how I could like navigate my interview. So yeah. And then for the final part of navigating the work search in Korea, I added the work visas. So most of the e-visas are the work visas. There are different, there is way more than this list, but these are the few that I listed out that I think is relevant to this talk. So the E7 is the one I'm currently on. They call it the Foreign National of Special Ability Visa, but I don't know what the special ability is because I'm just doing a regular office job. But yeah, but they say this visa is for international workers who have a contract to do specialized work in Korea. I don't know why they named it this way, but basically anybody that is doing an office job and the company wants to sponsor them, this is a visa they give you. And the Korean immigration has this rule, which I don't think is a great one, whereby for every 5 Korean, 1 foreigner can be hired, like 1 foreigner can be sponsored. So if, let's say, a company has 15 employees, they can only hire 3 foreign workers because for every 5 Korean, then 1 foreign worker visa. So that's the rule that they have. But so what happens sometimes is companies that are very small and they do not have up to 5, or maybe even if they have 5 Koreans or 10 Koreans, they would like to hire more foreigners. But because of this rule, they are unable to hire foreigners because the immigration is like, no. And usually, sometimes, especially really small companies, it's hard for them to get Korean staff as well, because a lot of times Korean staffs are looking for roles in like medium or big companies. So those companies that are very willing to hire foreigners, since hiring Koreans is hard for them, they're now unable to do that because they've already like maxed out the quota. So that's just a side story, but is the other reality of things. And then E1 professor visa. So it's for international workers who want to like lecture or do research in their field at a college level education. So yeah, as the name states, it's for professors here. And then E3 is research visa. People who are researching in natural science or advanced industrial technology that were invited by a Korean university. These are the visas that are assigned to them. And also ahead of a D8 visa. So it's an investment visa for foreigners who wants to invest in Korea and set up a business or something. So recently a friend mentioned that a company uses like D8 visa to sponsor people, but I'm not sure how that works. So I didn't really add it here because I wasn't clear on what the route is. So what I'm thinking is happening is maybe her company, they have already maxed out their quota for E7, but they need more foreigners to work with them. So since they cannot sponsor any more E7, then they are going the DH route. But I don't know the process that they're using to do that, but I can get more information from her on this. So yeah, so those are the work visas. And another thing is like maybe if somebody that was on E7 gets a permanent residency, like the short-term permanent residency, which is like F2, then the company, I believe, can hire another person since they are no longer sponsoring that F2. And yeah, this brings me to the end of my talk. And before I like completely close, I just wanted to share like a couple of people that I know who found jobs in Korea and the duration it took them. So the first one, I don't know the duration he took him, but I know that there's somebody that completed their PhD here and they were able to get a job at NVIDIA. But also it has to do with the person's background and their experience. So they got a job at NVIDIA while in Korea and what do you call it? And they do not speak Korean. So I think that's one case that I saw somebody got a job in a multinational company and they relocated the company because after you work with the company for a year, you can relocate to wherever you want to, maybe Europe or the US, and they were able to relocate to Europe. So that's one what do you call it, success story. And then two other friends, one she's working in AI and the other he's working as a data engineer and also software. So these are mostly, that's the thing, most of the examples are IT. I would look for non-IT examples and share with Kola, and hopefully Kola can share with other people. So this ones, let's say the lady, it's because she has had multiple jobs. So averagely, it took her maybe 4 to 6 months. I don't know if it got up to 6 months, but it took around at least 4 months to find the next role. And during the job search, there are seasons whereby you will not be hearing anything. Like you just be sending resumes, but I feel as if you are sending your resume into a black hole because there's no response, no call back, no nothing. But I believe it gets to a point whereby after, let's say, after 2 weeks of sending, you're not getting anything, you can tweak your resume. Then after a month, you can tweak it. Just something would click, hopefully. So in her case, at the end of maybe 4 months of nothing really clicking, she got like 2 offers and she was able to pick one. So she also doesn't speak Korean and is able to work fine. But since she's an AI and software engineer, that's also something that your code and your is mostly going to be technical, so they wouldn't mind too much. And also it was a multinational company that's not solely Korean, so that also worked fine and worked out well for her. And yeah, the other guy, he speaks a little bit of Korean and all his colleagues are also Korean. And I think he's also doing pretty fine. And a lot of time the Koreans at the community understand, although they don't speak as well. And I know sometimes they struggle to like explain things, but they majorly understand. So yeah, it's something that there's just possibilities though. So yeah, if anyone needs me to like look at their resume or to give feedback or review it, after they translate it through Papago, you can also ask me to review it to maybe correct or update some things. I'm willing and open to do that. So my closing note is good luck in your job search. Remember to show up with confidence in your skills and what you have to offer to your potential employee. So yeah, this brings me to the end of my knowledge sharing. I hope you all were able to get at least pick at least one thing from this session and it aids in your job search and gives just I just hope for the best for everybody. Thank you. And this is a reference of the some articles that I referenced to when I was researching and preparing this PPT. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Hussaina. We really appreciate you for asking us at very short notice. And I really also want to appreciate everyone who has come together to join us today, because if we're just here without you guys, then we will not be able to have any meeting. So before we actually proceed with the Q&A, and everyone has a question or whatever, we also want to just try to show we actually just want to try and let everyone know, everyone that is coming here maybe for the first time. This is
Yeah.
the Nigerian Students Association in Kyungpook
Mm-hmm.
National University. So we're a small community of Nigerians trying to do well by ourselves and by our country and also by Korea. So
Mm.
yeah, we have a couple of lecture series coming up, and this is what we have planned. I think in the next session in 2 weeks' time, we're actually going to be exploring career pathways outside of Korea. So we'll be navigating post-study experience and job search, and we'll have someone who has moved from here to Austria and some other very interesting speaking. Also, we'll be looking at freelancing tips for that's people that are looking for extra opportunities and maybe they are students in South Korea. So we'll
Mm.
also be looking at empowering career researchers, early career researchers, and essential tools for effective research by our amiable Dr. Bashir. And we have like very, very beautiful topics planned out for us. And we just hope that as we call on you, as you have done today, you will answer us. So once again, want to appreciate our speaker for coming on to us at short notice. Please let's throw that hand emoji like that.
Thank you.
Just through that. Appreciate her appreciate her a lot. Then now we'll be looking at questions. So I think we'll have to do this in an orderly fashion so that we don't first of all we don't waste time. Then
Mm-hmm.
secondly, everybody will get to anybody that has a question will get to speak. I would prefer that we drop our questions in the chat message box, but I think we have a couple of people who are allowed to actually speak. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can see the question, the send notification on time. Yeah, we'll send that on time. We promise to send out on time. So I
Mm.
think engineer Anis, that's Dr. Anis, actually did us up his hand. Then we also have Mrs. Toiba. She's also raising up her hand. So I think we'll have those two. But please let's send in our questions via the chat now so that we can convey them to our speaker and we can move in an orderly fashion, in faster fashion. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
and also
Um,
before
okay.
I go to people that have raised up their hand, I wanted to address the questions in the chats.
All right, that's fine. That's fine then.
Yes. So the first one was like many Korean IT companies require coding tests, particularly a test on programmers.co.kr. In my opinion, how do I think an individual could traverse this? So for this one, because I haven't had any experience writing coding test or just I'm not a developer, but I know somebody that would potentially have done that. The friend that I said she was job hunting for like 4 months because I remember her talking about coding tests, and I believe it might be on programmers.go.kr. So I don't know if Obase Kore is in the Kakao group or if they're in Korea, but I can get that information from her and share it with you later on how to navigate or be better or just how to pass the coding test. So that is one. And then somebody said, the same person said, is it appropriate to send for an unsolicited application for internship to a career company? So when you mean unsolicited application, that means they don't have any openings and you just send out, I would like to intern with you. Would you like, I think it's not inappropriate. It's fine. I think that is fine because that way you are creating an opportunity for yourself. So even if they were not thinking about it, if they have the budget and it was something that was they're considering hiring, that could be a way to get your foot in the door, even without any like job postings or anything. I think that's a smart way to be proactive. Yes, because last, the worst thing they can say is no, or the worst thing they can do is just ignore, and that's absolutely no loss because you know you have taken a shot, and they say the only shots, or how they even say it, like the shots that are missed are the shots that were not taken at all. So if you're able to do this and you get an opportunity, that would be actually be insane, and you can even advise other people that, oh, if there are companies that you're interested in and they have a role that you like, you can actually email or reach out to the team and tell them you'd like to intern for them. So yeah. And also the same person, very energetic, I can see because you have 3 questions. Does foreign job experience count in applying to companies that require certain years of experience? Yes. Every experience you have had, foreign, local, it counts. Maybe it depends on the company to recognize it. But for me, I personally think it should count because yeah, it does count. And then somebody, okay, the next one is not a question. Okay, Toiba said her question has already been answered. Okay. And then Samuel, you dropped a message. Qualification certifications are highly valued by Korean employers, especially for international applicants. That's a good one. Are there government initiative aimed at supporting job seekers, particularly international applicants, in finding employment? So for number two, the Korean government, the initiative that I can clearly note is this thing job fair that they host every year. So in fall, I think maybe September or October of each year, they have a job fair that happens in COEX, which is one of the biggest, not one of the biggest exhibition center in Seoul. And it usually goes on for 2 days. So this has been happening since when I was in university, and I think it still happens now, where a lot of Korean company come and they have their booths, and then students go for, or job applicants go from booth to booth. And so far, I knew some people that were able to get interviews at the job fair. But yeah, the job fair, because it feels like there's a lot of competition. But if you're in a quite a niche field, and your company or the company or the skill set you have, not most of the people they have it, then yeah, there are chances. So that's the one that I know. And I'm sure they are doing other initiative, but it's not as visible as the job fair. Because I know the Korean government are also trying to figure out a way to see how international people can get a job here, but with the Korean language thing being a barrier. But aside from that, the job fair is the one that comes to mind. The number one is qualifications or certificate. So this one is dependent on the field, because I cannot say anything at the top of my head. And yeah, I cannot really say, because depending on the specific field, the qualifications or certificate varies. And this is not like the US, whereby maybe there are like some standard qualifications that, okay, if you have this certificate, you know that, okay, you're set, and every company will recognize it. And that's the thing. Maybe if it's in what do you call it? Okay, so that's it for the number one. I don't know if my answer has been satisfactory, but yeah, certificates do not come to mind. And the third one is, can I highlight highlight on the availability of internship opportunities in Korea? So, oh, now that I think about it, also in Seoul, the Seoul city government also tried to provide internship for students. So they do like a Seoul Global internship each year. I was opportune to do that in 2019. So it's a 2 month internship. They pick like maybe 10, 12 students, and they put you in different government offices around Seoul. Yeah, I was working for the Seoul Global Center for like 2 months, and other people were in other departments. And that's the internship opportunity that comes to mind. And sorry, most of the things I'm giving are in Seoul, because that's where I've lived all my time here. I'm sure there are other things happening in Daegu. Maybe the Daegu government is like trying to provide opportunities for students, but I'm not sure. And for availability of internship, a lot of companies, I feel a lot of Korean companies, they usually have student internships. So it depends on also the industry and company. I'm curious for Samuel, what industry you're in and what internship are you potentially.
These are actually in-house questions. They're not my questions. They are just.
Oh, okay. Oh, because I saw you posted them. I thought these were your.
I put a disclaimer at the top. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see the disclaimer. Okay, we have in-house questions. Oh, I didn't get what that meant. All right.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So availability of internship opportunities. There are. So as we just went on the job sites and filtered for English, you can also filter for internship and then see. So what I would suggest to everyone, or to people who are job seeking, is to maybe go on Papago and find the word for internship and then English, and then you can go to the website and filter for those two things, and you can see the upcoming maybe summer internships, and especially maybe summer internship for people who speak English. That would be best combination. So yeah. And then the Korean companies have a unique format for resume. So for this one, I am unsure, because let's say this job website, usually when they ask you to upload your resume, they have their formats that is used. So that's what the Korean companies receive when you submit on those sites. So that's the format I am familiar with. For me, my resume is just the plain one page format, the white one where I just list out line by line education, career, voluntary projects. I keep it as simplistic as possible because there's sometimes it can be depending on the role. If it's something that is creative or something that requires visuals or something, then making it look pretty would be nice. But I try not to stay far from the standard. Although it's boring, it's very effective. So that's the method I use. So someone said, do I have information on how a foreigner can run a startup? And I would appreciate if you can link with such foreigner colleagues. So I know people, but I'm not like I'm just acquainted with people who have started startups. Not that I know someone closely. The and this is in Seoul because there's the startup visa that the Korea government also offers. But also, if there's a global center in the city that you are in, you can go there and ask how you can run and start a startup, because sometimes those global center they have programs to help people set up a startup and even might give you an office. Oh yeah, they might even give you an office space. So yeah, Victor mentioned that they can take the Oasis course. Yes, this is a good one. So the Oasis course is for these people who want to start up, make a startup in Korea. It helps in giving points towards getting the startup visa. So that's somewhere you can start from. So yes. Are there any other questions? Let me see if anyone is raising their hand, like if there's a queue. Okay. So Samuel has his hands raised.
All right. So I think a couple of months back, I got reached out to by an employer in I don't know if it's a recruiter of some sort for a cloud engineering. I don't do cloud engineering, so I don't know if those kind of things are probably red flags. That was based on LinkedIn, and the kind of visa I'm on doesn't really permit me to work. So I just ignored the message at the time. But I wanted to ask if it's a common thing where it was actually an English-based role where you can get reached out to by recruiters even without actually doing anything. How legit it can be, or how scamish it can be, how maybe because I know like there can also be scam jobs and those kind of things too in other parts of the world. So if there's anything, any red flags, people should also look out.
Yes, that is very true. Most red flag would be maybe roles, being offered roles that are not related to what you're doing. Yeah, that one is definitely a red flag. And maybe ones that are like, because I think when I was job hunting, because my details were on this website, and you can choose to make your details visible to the employers and other people. So maybe sometimes people would send you a text message that we have been called for an interview for this company that is here. And when there's not enough information or details of where the company is or what they do, then that's a definite red flag. Once I cannot search for them online or actually see who they are. Like I've gotten so much scams before. I've even been scammed once, but that's another different one in terms of this job search. But that's a different. That was a part-time job that I was looking for that they scammed me. But yeah, just things that you cannot find online is red flag, and being reached out for roles you did not apply for and that's unrelated to your role. Because if you are reached out, maybe they found your profile and it matches what they're looking for, that one is different. That one could be legit. But if it's the other case, like the example of the cloud engineer, when you don't do it, then that's probably something you should raise an eyebrow for. Somebody said I should tell them about. No, I'm not going to share my L, but it's okay. It's a long time ago. But yeah, I think we're all like, time has finished.
Thank you very much, Miss Hussaina. Again, thank you for coming, and thank you
Yeah.
again for everybody. I think any other questions you have, you can forward to the association, and we'll try to convey it to her. I think she's already even looking. We've already strained her today. We're very sorry. We'll send you milk so that you can re-energize. And
No, it's
so
totally fine.
I think we might be able to take just one last question before we round off for today. So NSA-KNU, I don't know who is handling NSA-KNU. All right, you have the floor. NSA-KNU.
Yeah, I would like to chip in one thing that people can still ask questions until 10:20. You need to check the schedule. And yeah,
Okay.
and also I have a question as well. Yeah. Is there any consideration for nationality for job employment? Yeah, because I've heard several cases of people saying a certain national can only apply for some jobs. So what do you
Yeah.
think?
So in those scenarios, what I assume is happening is maybe the position is going to be focused on that country, and the company is trying to expand into that country. So that is when they'll be like, okay, these nationalities, or they need someone that speaks that language. And these are not majority of the case, so I don't think it's something to be concerned about, because those are quite sometimes unique cases. I don't, and most times I think, yeah, nationality doesn't really come to play when it comes to job search. So I think it should be good. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I have another question.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I've heard several cases of some of our friends applying for jobs and they don't get called up for interviews, or probably they get maltreated at interviews. What's your position about this?
Really, like get called up for interviews and what?
And then they get maltreated, like, so they may be expressing some, you know how it is, some undertone, probably because of maybe skin color, something, blah 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 blah. I know it's a very sensitive topic,
Yeah.
but given your experience, I would like you to like discuss a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that is unfortunate. And luckily I've not been able to experience that in the like interviews that I've been to. And most places, I believe they try to be respectful. I don't know why those, like, you know, how there's like always going to be some weird and bad people that, and I don't even know why they will be calling them for it. Maybe they never saw their picture, and when they saw them, they're like, okay, we didn't expect it to be a black person. I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but it's something that they can report though. I know that sounds extreme, and nobody wants to take a nobody wants to take a headache of reporting or going through the stress of doing all of that, but it's something that maybe if you feel like you're being maltreated or not or discriminated against, you could threaten that you could report them to the Ministry of Labor, and the Ministry of Labor, they actually try to protect and fight foreign workers' right, because one thing that somebody told me that the experience is that the Ministry of Labor take foreign workers complaints seriously, because they don't want a situation whereby foreign workers are being mistreated and then those people go back to their country and say bad things about Korea, because Korea love having their clean image. So they try as much as possible to protect your interest. So if those people feel that they want to take it up, because you can decide to take it up and go after the company, you could just probably report them for discrimination. But yeah, I hope that's not a common thing though, because it's not good at all. It's not good. Because irrespective of if you have seen the person or not, like they're there for the interview, so you should treat them decently as everybody else. But yeah.
Thank you so much. One more question.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, the moderator. Do I have
I'm gonna sleep.
do I have the floor?
Yeah, sure. You have the floor, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I've heard cases of people getting very good jobs in Seoul. So I don't know if it's just only restricted to Seoul, because I've not heard of other people getting jobs in other cities. I heard Daejeon is a very big place. Where I live is actually a very remote one. So we have lost hope of getting jobs. But how about other cities?
Other cities, well, I'm not sure because I've been like mostly in Seoul, but I know in Gyeonggi-do area, which is the outskirts of Seoul, I know there are jobs there because a lot of companies have their offices there. Like Neva, that's where they are. I think even Kakao. So Gyeonggi area, which is an hour away outside of Seoul, and aside from that, that's all I know. Everywhere else is completely blank slate for me. But I don't know, for those in Daegu, do you guys know people who are currently working full time? Oh, I know Ulsan, because a friend got a job in Ulsan, although she didn't go there, but it turns out that their company is in Ulsan because that's where I believe the car exportation, the ports is there. So there are some companies that are starting up there and they're hiring foreigners as well. So I know Ulsan is a place, and maybe Busan. I don't know what's happening in Busan, but I'm just randomly mentioning place. But the two places I can give you is Gyeonggi-do and Ulsan. So yes.
All right. So I think we see I've maybe just one question. So the question I actually do have at this point is that what happens when people like I would take this topic test
Yeah.
and yeah, so they get jobs based off a kind of expectation that passing an exam is different from actually speaking in a professional setting.
Yeah.
So I think the first question is what is the minimum requirement for when it comes to topic for jobs in Korea here? And what also happens when one actually has topic but can't really speak the language, can't really cope?
So the thing is that companies do not actually ask you for topic because most of them don't know what it is. So they just ask like if you're advanced or medium or beginner. And maybe for those that know, because I've never been asked for a topic score. So for those that know, what do you call it? Sorry, what's your question again? Like, what's the...
Yeah, so I was just asking that for those that because I was thinking that how did they know that you can actually speak Korean if you say you can speak Korean? What's the
During the interview, don't know.
they will,
Yeah, during the interview.
all
Is
right.
it like, okay, let's speak Korean, and they see you stammering, they'll be like, this one. So usually it could just me. I try to be upfront. When my Korean wasn't that good, I'll be like, okay, can we have the interview in English? Or I'll just be like, okay, the Korean is in beginner level, and I would like interview in English. So once you get the job, then efforts like personal efforts to start picking up the language would also be required because you don't want a situation whereby you're in a job for like 6 months to 1 year and you're feeling isolated most of the time because of lack of communication. So even if when you are getting the job, at the point of getting the job, your speaking is not there yet, it's not the end. You can still pick up at some point, but they will know from the interview straight.
All right, no problem. I think we can maybe call it a day based on Q&A for now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to thank you again once again for coming to us and thank you very much to everyone. So I think for the last part of the program, we actually have let me see. So I think what's the last part again? Yeah. So we have the vote of thanks by our amiable president to give us our vote of thanks for the next maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Dr. Engineer Abib Alabi, the floor is yours, sir. Or I'm sorry, I think he's not currently available. We have our able doctor here, Dr. Bashir. I don't know if you're available, sir. To help us with the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, sir. It has been a very splendid night for all of us, although I came late. But the little time I am able to participate on the program is very an eventful one. So I would like to thank the NSA-KNU for providing the platform for this kind of insightful information, especially regarding the job hunting, because after getting the degrees, after the I don't want to call it a kind of hard work to get the degrees and so on. So the success is to get a job. So it's very essential to have this kind of information as we are having graduates across the board. So I would like to sincerely thank the NSA-KNU for deeming it fit to organize this kind of program. And also the speaker for today, Miss Hussaina. She's a very resourceful person, and she she thoroughly took us through the nitty-gritty of getting the job. So sincerely, we are very grateful for her.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
And likewise, the other participants, although the time could vary across where everyone is listening to the program, in Nigeria, in Korea, across the world. So, but for taking the time to listen to this kind of eventful talk, we also thank them, despite the busy schedule of everyone. So, I believe we will have this kind of more of this in the coming days, so that people can get enlightened, and because like they said, popularly saying that the information is power. So there are so many things that you might get stressed up to achieve, but with the correct information, accurate information, you just realize that they are at the tip of your iceberg, like at the tip of your finger. Just snap your finger, you are going to get everything done. So the speaker, you have done well. We thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Moderator, I think this is my vote of thanks for today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming. And we hope to see you at around 2 weeks time from now. We'd actually share the schedule with us on all our platforms. And please, we are encouraged to follow us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. We are everywhere. NSA-KNU, what you search, you find us there. So that we can always share timely information with us. Thank you. And from us at the knowledge sharing community of the Nigerian Students Association, Kyungpook National University, we say good night and thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you, Kamsamida.
감사합니다.